Nope. There was no option. Hey, it's the Dynasty stock market with bigz and
Dynasty FK,
Dynasty
let's
FK.
go.
Uh, how you doing, Alex? It's a long time no see.
Doing good. It feels like we had a long break. My team had, uh, you know, Thursday night football game, so you just get to sit back and relax and enjoy the rest of the games. And there's a lot of chaos with the fantasy side, so can't wait to break it down with you, man. It's gonna be a crazy week.
Oh God, yeah. Let's get to it. Crazy week. All right. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say I am a game time decision, or I was a game time decision. Have you ever sprained your whole arm before?
No, man.
So I have a dog. He's a 100-pound pit bull, and he went after a neighbor yesterday, and I was holding the
No.
leash, and he pulled on the leash, slid me across the concrete like I was on water skis. So that was fun. And then last night, my arm started throbbing. He sprained my shoulder, my elbow, and my wrist.
Oh man.
So that so that's fun. But enough about that. We want to get into what's going on in the Dynasty fantasy landscape. So today we're going to answer questions. It's week 4. We're 4 weeks in. We're 25% roughly, give or take. 25%, then plus a game because the owners need more money. Into the fantasy season, and so we'll be bringing you some trade targets. We'll be bringing you some waiver targets. We'll be telling you whose seasons are over, basically who's not gonna like recover from this, um, because there are a lot of buy low candidates that are out there, and then we'll talk about how some of our teams did this week, including one of my most incredible performances of all time in a very, very sharp league that we'll
Ooh,
get into later. Um, I had my highest week in the fishbowl. S-
awesome.
Still didn't beat the median, but I wasn't bottom six this week. So that was my crowning achievement last week. I finished sixth from the bottom. That's hard to do. You kind of have to try. Um, but yeah, okay. So let's look at the waiver wire real quick. In some of our sleeper leagues, who are some of the guys that are out there that you're willing to take a chance on simply because they're unowned?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Got to prioritize some running backs. Just always, I feel like there's just so many wide receivers available. So for me, yeah, man, I've been prioritizing the running backs. Kareem Hunt, someone that I think you absolutely just got to get on your team because not only is Pacheco gone, obviously, but with Carson Steele being a rookie, it was always going to take some time. But with Rashi Rice out, I feel like you know I was expecting more passing work from Samaje P. Ryan, which he really didn't get. But I think they're going to have to reevaluate, take some time. And again, guys, the Chiefs do have a bye the week after this. So that's kind of the tough part. But, would you really want to hold Kareem Hunt for this long? But I would still say it's worth having the starting running back on the Chiefs. We don't know if it's going to be Steele anymore after those fumbles. So that's someone I'm definitely going after. And Jonathan Taylor was looking banged up. So I'm thinking he might be someone we should be getting a handcuff for in Trey Sermon. So yeah, look, there's just not too much in that backfield. So I would think Trey Sermon is worth it. Just worth a little shot there, man. Not too inspiring, but absolutely a back that I would be interested in taking a look at. And aside from that, I think Justice Hill proved that regardless of how dominant Derrick Henry can be, Justice Hill can also be super effective. He had, I believe, 98 scrimmage yards. Most of those came in the air, 6 for 6 receptions from Justice Hill. Looked super effective. And that team is rolling. So why not get Justice Hill? Because that just seems to be working for them to have that kind of a balance. And then outside of that, man, I'm not too worried about tight end and quarterback. Get Tucker Kraft if he's available. He looks like the tight end one, and now Jordan Love's back. Andy Dalton, he looks like he can be consistent, so get him. And then like a Wan'Dale Robinson, I think he's like the pickup of the week if he's available. I did a show 70% roster is kind of my threshold, and Wan'Dale's still not fully rostered. He
Right.
got 14 targets and 11 receptions this past week. Both are one under Malik Neighbors. So those are the top two targets. After that, it's actually Devin Singletary, who's the third target in the pecking order. So wide receiver wise, Wando's got a solidified role. He's a must pick up. And I would throw Dontavian Wicks as a must pick up as
Oh, yeah.
well, because he got 13 targets. And it was only 5 receptions, so really not efficient, but still, we've got Christian Watson out for probably a few weeks with that injury he's got. So, now that you got your quarterback there, just like with Tucker Kraft, I want any of these Green Bay options as receivers on my team. And I'll just throw in Josh Downs, 'cause I love Josh Downs, but it's just kind of murky if Anthony Richardson's playing. But if Flacco's playing, starting Josh Downs.
Okay, that is so much to unpack. All right. I'm going to try and parse that piece by piece if I can. Let's start with the Kareem Hunt, Carson Steele issue. Now, I was thinking a lot about that because Carson Steele was a big waiver pickup for me a few weeks ago and before the Kareem Hunt signing. And it was obvious that, Andy Reid bringing in Kareem Hunt was going to get at least a little bit of run. And he did get more run than Samaje Perine, he's been around this year longer than Kareem Hunt has. But one of the things that I've always kind of noted is that a lot of guys, if they fumble, even if it's a few times in the same season, especially if they're young, they'll hit the bench, maybe even like Steele this last week for the rest of the game. But the team doesn't necessarily lose confidence in them. They run him back out there. So I've been hesitant on Kareem Hunt. I was hesitant before, and I'm still hesitant. My partner in crime, Mike Lindbergh, who many saw last night on Prime
I
Time.
watched it.
He in one of our other shows was talking about Kareem Hunt as a waiver pickup, and I don't know if I'm comfortable in making that happen. I think that rather than do that, I would prefer to make a trade. But that's another
Oh yeah.
topic.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And
Then
sorry, does the week 6 bye hurt that at all? Is that just like another reason to kind of avoid it?
I don't think so. Because my waiver priority right now has a bye this week. So
Okay.
and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so the next one is we're gonna talk about Trey Sermon. Now, let's contrast Trey Sermon and Raheem Mostert. Trey Sermon was kind of a thing coming out of Ohio State, and then just never kind of stuck anywhere. I want to say 4 different teams, at least 3 different teams in the last 4 seasons. This is his 4th year in the NFL, and it's at least his third team, if not 4th. Not good, and hasn't ever really stuck anywhere. When is the time that you actually put your faith in him? And when I say contrast him with Raheem Mostert, he had a pretty good profile, and the talent was apparent. It was just injuries that he dealt with a lot like Rashad Penny. So when he had his 8th year breakout, the people who had been sitting on him for 8 years were finally rewarded. And then he's back in injury protocols and stuff like that. But where do you see a guy like a Trey Sermon who's just he's never done anything? Why would we just give up something for him at this point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It was more of an opportunity scenario because
Sure.
we saw, and yeah, Zach Moss has more talent. I will say that we were struggling to know how great Zach Moss was prior to his stint with the Colts. If history, if that's correct, I don't know if you had those same opinions, but with Moss good, and then on the Colts with that offensive line and just that opportunity, he was able to thrive. I'm not really caping for for this guy, but I would say if the opportunity is there because Taylor misses time, I just don't see anyone else in that backfield that is going to step in. It's almost like the Cam Akers situation where that's more injury, but it's like we knew even after 2 weeks ago when he had that touchdown, like it wasn't even a great game, but we were still kind of rolling him out there last week because, well, Joe Mixon was still injured. So there's going to be some volume, and that didn't really work out this last week. So I could see a sermon game like the second week of Cam Akers starting where it just isn't that great. So another scenario where you might want to make a trade and look elsewhere.
He's worth a stash. Worth a stash. Okay. So one of the caveats that you provided with your Dontavian Wicks targeting, I love Dontavian Wicks, and I love what's that?
Yeah.
Five?
Yeah, only 5 receptions. It's brutal.
Oh yeah, but I love his talent level. I love the fact that I don't love the fact that Christian Watson is hurt again, but I love the fact that Jordan Love is back and the potential for Dontavian Wicks. We've all known about Dontavian Wicks' talent and his efficiency, the kinds of things that he can do on the field, and if he gets the opportunity to be, second on the team in targets, or even outpace Jaden Reed in targets for certain weeks, I love that opportunity for him. You did say that when you look at waivers, you're trying to find a 70% ownership threshold, and he is owned in 83% of leagues. The guy that I wanted to talk about real quick, and again, doubt that he is available. He is owned in, oh, never mind, 99%. I was going to talk about Lad McConkey real quick.
Oh,
So
your rival, squeeze him in there if you want, but
I was devastated when we didn't draft him.
he looks good, man.
And I feel like right now is a really good time to trade him, or to trade for him. Here's what we're looking at over his last 4 games. He has 2 top 20 finishes and 2 finishes past wide receiver 55. So if a guy is sitting on him, maybe not quite as enamored with him as he was going into the season, but his target share, apart from only 4 targets in Carolina, he's been sitting roughly around 6 or 7 targets. His yards have increased just about every game. He went 39 in the first week, 26, then 44 and 67. But his yards per target, and this is a function of his relationship with Justin Herbert, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 9.5 yards per target over the last 4 weeks. It's increasing every single week. That is a stat that we want to capitalize on. He's also in the top 4 of wide receivers in first downs per route run as a rookie since 2010. He's right there with Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, and Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, these are some of the underlying things that your standard owner who has him on the bench and hasn't been starting him, because I mean he has a couple games with some touchdown upside, but other than that, he hasn't done a whole lot. Maybe you can overpay for him a little bit at this point and take advantage of the trajectory that we're looking at with Ladd McConkey. And I feel like if you can take somebody that you're trying to get out on, or somebody who already has a high intrinsic value, maybe somebody with some steam, maybe even a Michael Pittman, trade Michael Pittman and try and get a draft pick and Ladd McConkey back for that. What do you think about that idea? Brandon Ayuk is out there. Maybe move off of Brandon Ayuk. Maybe a Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I like going after the young players of the future. And McConkey's not gonna, like, unless he turns out to be Hunter Renfro. Sorry, yeah, but I don't see him falling away, man. And he's got a great quarterback. I think another buy low window could come on maybe the next Justin Herbert injury. Going into this game, we were not sure if Herbert was going to be healthy. That may alone kind of spook some people. So there's still some opportunity to buy low, even though he's having a really good performance. So I'm definitely in on buying him. And just to clarify, the list I was given earlier, I'm still in a redraft brain. Since I'm
Sure.
doing waiver wire pickups for redraft in
Yeah.
Dynasty, waivers are so thin, man. Like there's depending on what league you're in, there's not much really left at all.
No,
Like just grab backup quarterbacks and backup running backs. That's what you do.
so one of the things that I like to do to find out if somebody could put, when I go to sleeper, I default go to my home league because it's a 10-man league. And if somebody's not on waivers there, they're not likely to be rostered somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the other thing about Lad is that he has the aforementioned bye week coming up. They have a bye week. So if there's somebody out there who's, say, in the bottom tier of your standings, and you have an opportunity to take somebody who is a post hype uh, veteran who maybe their situation has deteriorated. I think Jalen Waddle is the perfect guy, the perfect crime. Michael Pittman as well, and you're able to get return of Lad McConkey and a draft pick for a guy like that. I think right now is the time to do that. Send those offers out, just because that owner is going to look and say, okay, well, I don't have Lad next week. I can take advantage of this guy. I'm only giving up a draft pick, and this might mean a fix for my a temporary fix for my season, or a small fix for my season. This could be the difference between being outside of the playoffs and in the playoffs. And it may not necessarily work out, because right now, Lad McConkey is mostly an industry guy. Most of the Lad McConkey talk is coming from people who study fantasy football and do it for a living, or do it intensely, not necessarily your casual players. So if there are casual players out there in your leagues, go see if you can do that for Lad McConkey.
Yeah. Hey, take notes, guys. I like that. That's some actionable info right there. I mean,
All
definitely
right.
get in the minds of these guys. Leverage these bye weeks.
Another guy that I want to talk about real quick, and we talked a lot about Roshan Johnson last week, and that didn't week 4 didn't work out exactly how I wanted to him. Exactly how I wanted. I mentioned last week that Roshan Johnson is my number one owned player in all of my dynasty leagues, and so his ascension is very very important to me. And I was glad to see that he got a touchdown last week, even though he didn't do much in the running game, all told. Um, but there's another guy who was part of his draft class, and again, he's still owned in 85% of leagues. But if Kendre Miller is out on your waiver wire, he's going to be practicing this week. They're not gonna. They still have 4 weeks before, if once he starts practicing, they still have a few weeks before they take him off of the IR designation. But if you can grab him off waivers right now, put him in your IR, that opens up another waiver spot that you can go grab somebody else, like Wandale Robinson. He's out there. There are a couple people. I'm trying to remember the show that we did last night. There were two guys, uh, Khalil Shakir, Terry McLaurin. There were a bunch of guys that were owned in like only like 30% of ESPN redraft leagues or something like that. And so I was like, go get Kendre Miller, drop somebody else, stick him in your IR, you get a waiver spot open, and then go grab one of these other guys that we're talking about. Because Kendre Miller, even though he has had injury problems and he's ostensibly in Dennis Allen's doghouse, he's still a part of a Clint Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan style offense. He's still the handcuff behind Alvin Kamara as far as 3 down backs. Yes, Jamal Williams is still there to take over on goal line carries, but at 6 foot and 220 pounds, that makes, if something happens to Kamara and Kendre Miller gets in, that makes Jamal Williams expendable, because Kendre Miller can handle that goal line work. On top of that, especially in college, he was a fantastic receiving running back. He can do everything, and he has the size profile that we look at that made him such like a huge second round get in your rookie drafts. And the only thing that's held him back so far is some injuries, which aren't predictable. But they aren't predictable, and they are. We'll hear from Podfather in a second, but I want everybody to prioritize going out and at least making a deal for Kendre Miller, getting him off waivers if he's available. What are your Kendre Miller thoughts? Go!
Alvin Kamara can't be there forever. So for Dynasty, you got to get the younger running backs. And we'll see what they do in the next draft class. But I don't just sit here and wait to guess if the team's going to draft a running back. You know, we were hoping the Cowboys would draft one. They didn't. So as of right now, Kendra Miller's on a team, and he just hasn't gotten a full shot for us to really see what he can be. He was decent at the last game of the last season, but yeah, I'm definitely down to grab Kendra. Last year, Jamal Williams didn't look good. Somehow he's having a much better year just in this short amount of time. But the team overall is just playing better. So I think Kendra Miller could benefit from that as well.
It's a function of the offense. And at some point, Clint Kubiak is going to be looking at a post Alvin Kamara world with Kendre Miller, who is a 3-down running back talent in an offense that functions the way the 49ers do with Christian McCaffrey. There could be a point in the next 3-4 years, as long as Kendre Miller stays healthy, where as a function of that system that he's in New Orleans, he's the RB1. And you're not going to get him at a lower price now, especially if he comes back, gets some playing time. If Kamara gets dinged up, if they start giving him 10 catches a game, etc., his value is just going to go up from where it is right now. Unfortunately, he's on 85% of IR lists on Sleeper. So that could be a deterrent. But it also means that, you know, he could be a trade target and take advantage of his value now. So you guys out there in fantasy land, this has been a devastating year for injuries. And injuries impact all aspects of fantasy football, from best ball to redraft leagues to dynasty leagues. So let's hear from Matt Kelly.
Hey, you're in your fantasy draft and someone says, "Hey, that guy's injury prone. I don't want him." And you're like, "I don't know. I don't think you can predict injuries." Well, guess what? Now you can! Injury proneness is real! At Player Profiler, we have the data on these players, and it's all in the Injury Finder app. Their injury track record back through time, exactly where they were injured, how severe it is. We look at the BMI data, and we crunch it all together, and we give you probabilities that a player will miss multiple games this NFL season, as well as the complete database of NFL injuries and the ability to compare two players and look at their injury track record. The Injury Finder is powerful, and it's only $5. If it's worth it to have that peace of mind when you're drafting, go get it.
All right, so injuries aren't predictable unless you have the Injury Finder from Player Profiler.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like the injuries they're not going to stop, man. Like that's what I was saying with these pickups. You're going to want some running backs. So if how I was saying with the Ravens, they're looking good. So even a guy behind Justice Hill, like a what's the rookie over there, Rasheen Ali, he was coming back from injury. Who knows? He may have a role there in the future. And like those tight ends, Eric All is getting a ton of targets. We'll see if Gesicki's going to keep that lead role. AJ Barner, same thing. These guys that are one injury away, they're worth just holding on to the back end of your roster and see what happens.
AJ Barner, I mean, come on, man, that helps no one.
It will eventually.
To borrow from the esteemed Mr. Adam Rank over on the NFL Network.
Yeah, no one started him. Nice touchdown though.
If you watch NFL Network at all, Adam Rank, I may not exactly be a fan of his manner and style, but the dude is sharp. I was able to do some mock drafting with him this offseason,
Nice.
and he dude knows what he's doing. All right, I'm trying to come up with. There he is. All right, currently, let's go back to the Kendre Miller for a second. Currently, he's ranked 150 as a dynasty running back. He's snug right between.
Get a third, probably you can get him.
Snug right between Christian McCaffrey and Najee Harris, which that's kind of surprising to me. ADP on Underdog this year was like last pick 215. I'm trying to see if there's anything here in the underlying player profile. All right, it doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it's working hard.
He was
lagging
targeted
just trying
as
to
a
find those
by player profiler. Yeah, but you're gonna have to get the Injury Finder app because that's not on the normal player page. All right, so let's talk about quarterbacks real quick. We've got Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton. Both those guys, especially in redraft, have been still widely available. I don't know what they need to do for people to like start rostering them, but they're for real, you guys. And if they're available in Dynasty, if you're sitting on an Anthony Richardson situation, who are some guys that you are not looking forward to rostering rest of season at the quarterback position? Is Anthony Richardson just
so like a real quarterback? Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. So
Skylar Thompson. Yeah.
Well, Brissett is starting. Okay, but I got you.
The only reason that Brissett is starting is because the Patriots don't want Drake May to be broken.
A rough starting schedule for them. Trying to let that guy ramp up slowly. Do we just all right? Then I'll just go to the complete opposite. Patrick Mahomes. All right.
Okay.
You force me into it. It's either Brissett or Mahomes. I don't want either one on my roster.
Okay.
Because look, Mahomes we're not getting the points, man. I think it's been over a 16-game stretch of Mahomes having like real difference making production for our fantasy lineups. There's so many other quarterbacks that have been outscoring Mahomes from a fantasy perspective. In real life, you want Mahomes, but for fantasy, he wasn't getting it done when he had, let's just say, everyone healthy. But now the team is dropping like flies. I don't really see much of a reason for him to all of a sudden be scoring more. Like, yeah, he had his first deep shot to a receiver of 50 yards or more to Xavier Worthy this past week and over a year also. But that wasn't even enough to pull his performance, out of the, just the mid-range QB range, right? So I want a rushing quarterback over him. I like the health that he'll have. He'll likely be there down the stretch. That's the difference between him and an Anthony Richardson. But I'll just go with Mahomes for that one.
Okay, so just looking today, in a 2-quarterback, 12-team league, full PPR, Patrick Mahomes went for 225 first-rounders.
You remember the days when people were getting him, trading 5 first to get him?
No, because I've never been interested in him, so I didn't really pay attention, and I've never really owned much Mahomes.
Same.
Yeah, 225 firsts. I do that. Straight up for Jordan Love. What? Why would you? Why would you give up Jordan Love straight up for Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, well, I still think you can maybe get someone to give you something on top, but maybe not. I just think Mahomes has been a little bit healthier, and Mahomes just has a luster. I don't know if the trade value is really flipped for Love over Mahomes yet. I don't think so. I would still try to get something on top of Love.
Right. How about Mahomes in a 4th rounder in 2025 for Kyler Murray in a 2nd rounder?
Wow. Yeah. It's crazy because Murray's just killing what Mahomes is doing. It's not even close.
Yeah. Mahomes for Baker, a 25 first and a 26 second.
For me, I'm willing to hold Mahomes in some of these situations just because of the trade value that he has. I think it'll sustain whatever Baker's going to do. One wrong move and Baker's lost all trade hype.
Oh, here's one that I like. Jalen Hurts and Jaden Reed for Brandon Ayuk and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, the Hurts side's better. Hurts Reed, yeah.
Jaden Daniels and a 26 third for Mahomes.
Yeah, I want that Daniels side.
You just got Daniels plus? I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Now this one, Anthony Richardson, a 25 second rounder and a 25 first rounder for Mahomes.
Okay. I'll gamble.
Yeah.
I'll gamble. I'll take
Roll
the
the dice
Richardson side.
on that
So the
Richardson
problem with
side.
some of the ones where you're getting picks back is that if it's not helping me this season, then I still think I can cash that Mahomes chip in later in this same season for potentially more if more injuries happen. And sure, the Mahomes injury could happen to him, but he's going to hold his value no matter what. But if I'm not just getting more players like the Hurts and Reed, yes, I like that. But if I'm just getting a quarterback in a draft pick, then I still think I can make that move later, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When I know for sure who's healthy.
Here's a Mahomes straight up for Jaden Daniels. I think I broke my finger smashing the accept button on that one. And then another one, it's Mahomes, a 25 first, a 26 first, and a 26 second for Jaden Daniels. That one I feel like is a little bit, it's an overpay to get Daniels, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to remember Mahomes still has his own value that basically no other quarterback has. So just being the GOAT.
He's got some juice.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Mahomes, let's
don't do it.
Yeah, let's start talking about somebody else. Mr. Travis Kelce.
Okay.
All right. If I go to the stats machine real quick, some call it a phone, and we go to week 4. Leaders, and we go to tight end. Travis Kelce was tight end 3. 15.9 points finally. His target share has ramped up 4 and 3 in the first 2 games, then 5, 9 in this game with Rashee Rice out.
Oh, of course.
Plus, a little bit more of an incentive to throw the ball. Rest of the season, where are you valuing Travis Kelce?
Man, sad times. Shout out to Rashee Rice. I'm from Dallas as well, and I love seeing his rise. So get healthy. Hopefully, we actually get some positive news. It's still a chance, but I think they just try to stretch it out and make it sound like, maybe for gamesmanship, they're not going to announce it this week. I don't know, but it doesn't sound good for Rashee Rice. So if he's out of the picture, he was the target leader on this team, and it's not going to be Xavier Worthy. So I think it'll be Travis Kelce. Right now, before we went live, your boy Devontae Adams was rumored to be on the trade block. We'll see if that happens. There's other fake rumors of like maybe the Dolphins would give Tyreek to the Chiefs. That's not going to happen. But anyway, Travis Kelce, just with the state of the tight end position, I've got him right back in the top 5 just weekly. You're starting him no matter what. But Mark Andrews, we saw he was a guy who you thought was locked in, and he was now on everyone's bench. Column. So Kelce, someone who was right there with Andrews for a moment on the bench column, now he's a must start, I think, rest of the season because they don't have any other options, and they do have a great chemistry, and we know that the talent is there. So I'm back in on Kelce for the rest of the season.
Okay, so are you talking you are 3-1 2-2, where you're maybe looking to move a pick or something for him? What are you looking to give up to go grab Travis Kelce?
Yeah, and a lot of times swapping that position to make sure that person has that position covered helps. If not, if you can get away with it, fine. But like, hey, let me give you Mark Andrews and um, maybe just a second, if it's a late second. At this point now, we're 4 games in. You know, if you have a late, you don't know, no, but you have a better idea if it's going to be either mid to late or mid to early type of draft pick. So I would do maybe a late second plus Mark Andrews for Travis Kelce. If you can just give a second, like if you think it might be early, maybe it belongs to someone else, maybe you give that for Kelce. I don't really want to do that, but that second round pick range is totally fine. Second and a third, if you can get away with that. Even if it's a receiver like Josh Downs just went off. I just mentioned I like Josh Downs, but I don't see a lot of consistency there. If you can give Josh Downs for Kelce in a win now situation, I'm fine with it. Because honestly, with Downs, as much as I love him, it's I don't see any consistency coming anytime soon for him. But back end receiver, a running back that's just starting for this year alone because of an injury, or a mid to late second round pick, I'm willing to give for Travis Kelce.
So I'm seeing 4 trades today that were
All
Travis
right.
Kelce for a 25-second.
Hit me.
Here's one. It's a 25-second and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. These trades always get me, man. Pitts is done.
Straight up Travis Kelce for Mark Andrews.
There we go.
I'm doing that.
That's
if you
crazy.
need tight end help,
that's an age thing.
Yeah. If you need tight end help.
Yeah. Like a bad team, a 0-4 team, they're like, I just got to get rid of Kelce. It doesn't even matter.
Speaking of other tight ends involved in trades today, for Travis Kelce, what are we doing with Kyle Pitts?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked, because if we're talking Dynasty stock market, this is a guy who had a historic rise right at the beginning and had a great rookie year and kept that momentum as far as just the value. But then we're just kind of lying to ourselves about the production because it hasn't been there. And then we get the new quarterback and we're expecting good things, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it was one of his previous injuries, but overall, Mooney's out targeting him. Darnell Mooney, that is, and obviously Drake London's out targeting him. Yeah, and yeah, for sure. Because receivers it's just one of those things. But man, Kyle Pitts, I think you do need to move on from Pitts because he does still have some type of name brand. There's enough data to where people should know he hasn't been able to perform. But I think you can pivot to someone that's still a real player. That's my point. And I might even pivot out of position because you're not going to be able to pivot into Brock Bowers with Kyle Pitts at this point. You could have before the rookie draft maybe, but that ship has sailed. The Raiders are holding tight to Brock Bowers. I know you wouldn't do that trade. So I would say trade into like if you're a contender, trade into just a running back that can help you and just pick up a tight end, or like any of these other tight ends are probably going to be fine. And you might even be able to get Kelce for cheap or something like that. But I'm ready to move on from Kyle Pitts. And if there's a buy low price, like I'd buy low at the third. I feel like I should buy it a second, but like I want just running backs for the most part, and I could cash in with my second round pick for a running back that could help me here in November or something like that, instead of just buying into Kyle Pitts, who's more of a doorstop.
What I think is funny is we talk about Brock Bowers, and I'm a Brock Bowers lover. But he's had a Kyle Pitts career in 4 games. And
explain.
He meteoric rise to start the season, and then he missed a game with an injury, and then was under targeted in this last game because Gardner Minshew is garbage. Oh, garbage Minshew. I'm going to use that on my show tonight.
Never heard that one.
Tonight. Garbage Minshew. I'm sure somebody said it before.
Yeah, once
Um,
Penix starts, they'll trade him to the Raiders, and then it'll be the full-on Kyle Pitts experience for
we
Bowers.
want Aiden. We want Aiden. Let's go. Okay. All right. Staying in the tight end position. What are we doing with Sam Laporta? Is he the next Kyle Pitts?
Um, he's another one I believe had an injury at the end of last season, and came back. But this year, Jameson Williams has kind of stolen the show, and basically opened up the offense, which is great. But part of the reason Bowers was great is because the offense wasn't opened up, and everything was kind of staying in the pocket, like that movie Hitch. You just got to stay in your comfort zone. Don't go too far out of here, Goff. We're not asking you to do too much, but with Jameson Williams, and not all of these are even deep throws. He's just doing a lot of the dirty work himself. But I just feel like they don't need to rely on that short intermediary threat in the tight end. Like they might rather just have him as a blocker, because you got two running backs that you have to get moving in space, and you just need the tight end to block, since you're not going to use Montgomery as a blocker most of the times. I see him having a more traditional tight end role this year, unfortunately. A great rookie campaign for him. But I'm still just with the state of the position, I'm still rocking with Laporta. He had a nice run yesterday. I'm rocking with him, but it's we just can't overvalue these tight ends anymore. We're learning these lessons, and then someone else is going to pop off like a Bowers, and we're going to unlearn the lesson, and then we got to just keep learning the lesson again, and not overvalue these tight ends.
We had 1 year of elite tight end play, and now we're back to streaming. What?
Yeah.
We totally changed the narrative in the industry, and now we're back to streaming.
There's 8 tight ends that you can rely on. No.
Sam Laporta has yet to exceed 10 points in PPR this year.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs. 5 targets, 3 targets, 2 targets, 4 targets. So he had an uptick this week. Top 12 finish.
Did you see that golf performance? 18 of 8. He set a record.
Hashtag Nevada boys. He's the second best football player born in Nevada, California.
Yeah, bigz is number 1.
I'm number 1.
Let's go.
All right. Before we get to our team performances, let's play a little this or that. So I'm going to give you 2 names, and you're going to tell me which one you prefer rest of season. Travis Etienne, Rashad White.
Etienne.
You're going Etienne. Currently, Etienne is ranked as the RB20 and Rashad White as the RB6. And you're still
value.
Yeah, and you're still going Etienne.
Yeah, not great, but I feel like last week, the backup running back Bucky Irving, both those guys are coming off of injuries, but I feel like I don't know. Tank Bigsby, I'm not like he's playing well too. Like both these guys, their backup running backs are playing well, and the Jags are awful right now. I don't know. I just feel like Bigsby's more of a workhorse. Or excuse me, Etienne has that workhorse ability, but it's just not going well for the Jags. I'm hoping when Evan Ingram comes back, it's a little bit more complete offense. Brian Thomas will be a little bit more seasoned. So I feel like there's still a step forward that they can take. I just can't explain why I feel like White has been ceding some work to his backup.
All right. Braylon Allen, Najee Harris.
Nice. I'm going Najee. Right now, I don't know how many times we got to say it. Najee's like the Iron Man at running back. He stays healthy, and he's the only healthy running back on his team. So in any scenario, usually it's a backup who is taking over for a running back who's starting, and now he's the only healthy guy. But the starter is still the only guy, and everyone else is injured. I like the guy who gets the most work. Just don't even look that great, so I'm not super, wanting to jump on the Jets player bandwagon. But Braylon Allen looks great. But now, if I'm trying to win, I'm totally fine just getting whatever points I get from Najee. Yes, he gets vultured from Fields, but still, team's doing all right. I'm good with Najee there.
Speaking of getting vultured for Fields, Najee had the best running back matchup this last Sunday. and I had him over 0.5 touchdowns as part of an 8-leg parlay, and he was the difference because he didn't get into the end zone between $67 and $1,200. So thanks, Najee. Appreciate you. All right, Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey.
Man. Um, yeah, I think if you just want to win, man, just go ahead and get Aaron Jones. I'm still a little nervous that he gets banged up again soon, but it's just one guy's injured and one guy is not, and the injured guy just somehow keeps getting more injured, like double tendonitis for McCaffrey. I don't know, man. It's not looking great for him. Like even if he steps on the field, like what's the injury risk? Well, go get the injury finder, guys.
Yeah, there's certain situations, Tua before, CMC now, where just like, hang it up, just just hang it up. I know, and I know the competitive spirit, and I know that they believe in their heads that they can get out there and continue at the same level. But at a certain point, you just have to know, like, just like hang it up. It's not worth it. Like, take your 25 million and just go open up a farm and feed some food banks or something. All right, Chuba Hubbard, Roshan Johnson.
Nice. This is a great one. Yeah, we've got Chuba Hubbard's RB1 coming back soon, and Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. Let's go. But yeah, so I get it. I'm willing to still rock with Chuba Hubbard because I don't like to just assume what is going to happen next all the time with these running backs. I
Right.
think that DeAndre Swift is still healthy, and even though Khalil Herbert is getting relegated behind Roshan, I think there's still competition there for Roshan Johnson. Love Roshan Johnson, also out of Texas, but Hubbard last year looked good. This year with a good quarterback, he looks good. I'm fine just getting what I can out of Hubbard, and then we'll see what the workload looks like when Brooks gets back. But Roshan Johnson's already in a committee situation, so I'm fine with it on either of these two teams now that Panthers are averaging 24, 27 points a game. I'm cool with rolling with Hubbard there.
Okay. Two more at the running back position. Let's go. Raheem Mostert, Jalen Wright.
I will go right here. They were working with him a lot this past game. I didn't see enough, but it could be a function of just the offense isn't looking great. Huntley didn't look great. So it does depend on if Tua comes back as far as how that works out. But I'm confidently taking Wright in this scenario and just hoping for the best.
As soon as Miami gets a real quarterback, it's everybody to the moon again. All right, and last one: Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry.
Uh,
Lot of recency bias in this one.
yeah,
one.
yeah. My Scott Fishbowl, I got Derrick Henry. That was I had the lead, so that was brutal. But Derrick Henry somewhere else, someone else somewhere else. So I'll go with Derrick Henry because I love this offensive situation he's in, and both backs have productive RB2s behind them. I just mentioned Justice Hill's looking good, but just in the pass catching game, his main vulture is Lamar. But you saw Lamar only 54 yards this past game, so like he kind of took he let Henry eat, and I love seeing it. That's two 30-point games. He's averaging 30 points or whatever it is. He's going off right now. I'm gonna take Derrick Henry. Walker is clearly the best running back when he's healthy out of him and Charbonnet. That's not a question. And I love what the Seahawks are doing just overall, but give me Derrick Henry.
I have both of them at top 3 at ROS, and Henry did make it easy for Lamar not to have to do much with his 87-yard or whatever 80+ yard run, which I'm in a league that's it bonuses for big plays.
Oh
51
yeah,
points on that one play.
that's insane. The first opening play of the game.
Yeah, and then I coasted the rest of the weekend.
Good night.
and then Kenneth Walker and his 3 touchdowns last night. That was beautiful too. All right, moving on to the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill or George Pickens?
Nice. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Mm, man, I'm gonna just say Tua comes back. I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill. Tyreek still has it. He was burning guys on plays last night. It was just that Huntley's aim and accuracy isn't there. Tua was on the sideline. I think he's coming back. So I'm rocking with it because Pickens. He lost a potential big play in this past game, so he could have had a much bigger night. I can't remember the play right now,
The big
but
drop.
Pickens, yeah, yeah. So Pickens, it's there to be had, but overall, Justin Fields rarely crosses 200 passing yards. You're going to need it to be on a super efficient type of day for Pickens to hit. Whereas you don't need efficiency with Tyreek Hill if he does, but he still needs a quarterback that is respectable. But just one big play can break your whole day with Tyreek Hill. So I'm still gonna lean with Hill. It's not his fault that he's taking a step back right now.
All right. Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin.
Nice. For Dynasty, I'm good with Addison here. Godwin looks amazing. Addison had a great bounce back game. And all we got to worry about is maybe a suspension this next season. But other than that, I like him as a top 2 target. And yes, no TJ Hawkinson yet. That could change some things. But he had a great rookie season. Those type of numbers, usually you're on a good path going forward. And ultimately, Godwin, I've got him with like 3 years left of production. But, who knows? But I'm going with the young guy there.
It's not necessarily going to be with Tampa Bay, though. Let's stick with the Bay. Thoughts to those suffering from the hurricane. Mike Evans or Terry McLaurin?
Oh, I'll go with McLaurin here. And I'm a little scared of this because I know some Mike Evans big games are coming. But it's really just Zach Ertz is the wide receiver 2, the receiving option number 2 there. So I just love someone who's just hyper targeted or has the ability to be hyper targeted. And I believe in Jay Daniels' accuracy. I think 82% accuracy on his last game. He's doing really well for a rookie. So I'm gonna rock with McLaurin there, but feel a little nervous about that one.
All right. 2 more. Tank Dell, Brandon Ayuk.
I'll go with Ayuk. I think he could be doing more, but I believe in Purdy as a passer. I know not everyone does. Obviously, I believe in CJ Stroud. So let's say Diggs is gone next season because it's a 1-year deal, I still am just not sure what that workload is going to be like. I mean, in 2023, Dell was one of the highest points per game leaders in the league, but right now Collins is taking it a step forward, and I also want some near-term production in this equation too.
Okay, so let's change it up. Ayuk, Diggs.
Well, I'm still taking the younger guy. I don't see a long term for Diggs.
Okay, and then finally, Khalil Shakir, DJ Moore.
Nice. I'm comfortable with DJ Moore. They just gave him a contract extension 2 months ago. He's got, I think, 3 years of really good production in him, and we just need to get Caleb Williams ramped up and comfortable. That it may not come until 2025. But Shakir, I mean, he's kind of in the perfect spot. It's pretty tough. I'm just not sure how consistent it's going to be. One of the things Josh Allen said recently was that he likes not having to force the ball to one guy or another. So I don't see the target consistency being there for Khalil Shakir.
So it doesn't scare you that DJ Moore had finishes of season finishes, wide receiver 16, 23, 18, 24. Currently he's at number 27, but last year he was wide receiver 6. So what's the outlier?
The outlier is his entire Carolina Panther tenure, where he basically maxed out at 4 touchdowns a season. And I feel like there's potentially some upside here, but Caleb Williams isn't looking amazing, guys, for his production. And with Keenan Allen coming back, you saw Rome Odunze and DJ Moore's production step back. So it may not be until Keenan Allen's out of there in 2025 that you really get that juice. But just like I was saying earlier, like I think Moore has some cachet on the name that I can leverage a little bit easier too.
And at that point, he's in year 8. Um, so this year so far, his highest finish is 24. He's wide receiver 41, 30, 24, and 41, and that fits more in line with his career history than the wide
Yeah.
receiver 6 finish for Justin Fields. So let's go, Justin. Let's turn George Pickens into the wide receiver 6. Um, come on, we're waiting. All right, so let's go with good win, bad beat. Give me your favorite win of the week. One of your
Favorite
teams.
favorite win of the week. I had some close ones that didn't go my way, unfortunately, but I'll just go with the blowout win because all of my close ones really did not go in my favor. I got Derrick Henry quite a bit, so yeah, I had a really nice blowout on a team where I had been rebuilding for years, and I was going up against the undefeated team. They ended up as low score of the week with 71. I ended up as high score of the week with 198. And this was one where I actually traded a first round pick in 2025 preseason for Derrick Henry. So it felt very insane to make that type of trade, but the team's pretty loaded. Jaden Daniels, Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Jake Ferguson, Jalen Reed, Zay Flowers, CJ Stroud, and Jordan Love on the bench. And some other guys. Like really, my only other RB was Zach Charbonnet, who's been kind of getting me through it. Do have Roshan on there, but yeah, man, the team just went off. Got the Derrick Henry somebody. Nico Collins is crushing, and I've got Stroud, so I love this team, man.
Same.
And unfortunately, I was playing against Rashee Rice, so that was one of the reasons they got crushed.
That sucks. That happens. So this league that I'm in, it's an 8-team league that includes Jax Falcone, Chalk, Joe Kuvatakis, Marcus Gailey. It's all undroppables, guys. Tommy, and we drafted it at the expo.
Nice.
We drafted at 3 a.m. Everyone was absolutely hammered. The rules for the draft: 3 quarterbacks. So 2 quarterbacks have to start plus a super flex, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and then 4 flex spots, 4 regular flex spots. So I took Jaden Daniels with my first pick in the first round at number 6, and they all made fun of me.
Uh-oh.
I was the first person to take my 4th quarterback. They made fun of me. This week I had Daniels, Kyler Murray, who didn't do much, and CJ Stroud, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Travis Kelce, Mike Evans, Kenneth Walker, Jaden Reed, and Deontay Johnson.
Ooh, there we go.
The previous high score in the league for this season was 188 points. I scored 237. I scored 50 more points than the next highest. And I'm currently sitting in first place with a 50 points for lead among some of the sharpest people in the industry, guys that literally wrote books about Dynasty fantasy football. Jax Falcone, who has one of the best podcasts about fantasy football. Friend of Player Profiler, consistent guest with Theo, and I'm absolutely destroying them from a 3 a.m. draft. Oh, here's the other thing. There were no computers. Everything was off the top of the dome. And Joe
we need more of those.
Joe wrote everything down. So it was basically like no help, no rankings, nothing. It was just your brain, and I'm clearing. All right, so give me a bad beat.
Yeah, that's how a lot more guys fall through the cracks with that type of draft format. Yeah, man. I had a matchup where I was going up against into Monday night. I'm up. I got 142 points, and the other person, all they got is Jared Goff. They're down. They were at 120, so they only needed basically 23 points to win, and Goff goes off. I mean, 27 points doesn't feel like going off, but for Goff, that's his season high. He has a historic 18 for 18 completions, and just absolutely crushed. I don't know the exact way to say what that record was, but that was a record to just be 100% completion percentage on however many yards he had. So just super
Yeah.
efficient night, and I just didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, he hasn't even hit 20 points once this season. He's not going to do it this game when he needs 23 points. Up, he gets 27. Get right. And not only that, he catches a touchdown from Amon-Ra St. Brown. So not only that, Amon-Ra was perfect passing as well. So he catches a pass on me and just dances on my grave with 100% completion percentage.
Right. So I don't know how many of you all pay attention, but University of California, Berkeley took over Twitter, college football Twitter over the last couple weeks, called the Calgorithm, and basically spammed College Game Day coming to Berkeley for this week's game against Miami. It's a night game, which is going to be at 7 o'clock here. I think that's 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and College Game Day starts at 6 a.m. So all of these West Coasters are going to be out there, like sleeping out overnight. I'm talking to friends about maybe going down there. Um, and Jared Goff has a bye week in week 5. So Jared's probably going to be at the game on Saturday. And
Yeah.
all right.
Tell him thank you.
Yeah.
for
So my
crushing my
bad
dreams.
beat. Brees Hall got me 3.8 points.
I had Brees in that league too. Brutal.
I had Baker Mayfield on the bench with 31.8, and I went with Derek Carr, who scored me 8.
Oof.
This is a campus to Canton league.
Yeah.
I did have Jaden Daniels in. I lost 141.68 to 141.98. I lost by 0.3 points. Let's see who on my bench would have led to a win. Van Jefferson,
the quarterback. Yeah. No, literally anybody.
Mac Hollins, 1.5 points. Chigo Quanquo, 2 points, because I had Jonnu Smith in, who got 0. 0 catches on 1 target, Jonnu. I know you don't have a quarterback, but still. That was my 0.3 point loss, because
dang,
you look at matchups, you make your decisions from there, and it doesn't always go right. So
yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's rough. It looks like I lost 154.52, and I had 154.46. So what is that? 0.8?
It's 0.06?
0.06.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I thought mine was bad.
Yeah, I had that one. I had another close one, but I lost one by like a half a point.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So we do all our homework, so you don't have to. You listen to us, but ultimately you make your own decisions. And there were people that I listened to that I made decisions because of, and I lost by 0.6 points, but that's on me. Because that's the way things work. We're not in the business of what's going to happen. We're in the business of what's most likely to happen. Good process always beats good process over good results. Keep doing the right thing, and that thing will keep happening. And then we keep telling ourselves that because it makes us feel better.
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for the week. We'll be coming at you an hour later next week, because Dynasty F-Key has some business with the Podfather. What? Rarefied air. Let's go. Oh, we got a comment. That's from you. Oh,
just fire. Yeah, you got this, guys. Let's get it.
Sweet. All right, and find me at BigBone@FFB. Find him at Dynasty F-Key, and we will talk to you guys next week.
All right, man. Well,
I
good
don't
luck.
know. It hasn't shown that it ended yet.